Also to the public viewing, thank you very much for joining us. Emily, may we please have a roll call to confirm a quorum is present?
Sure. Kelly Cummings.
Present.
Bill Beanie. Bill, you might be on mute. Come back to Bill in just a moment while he, I'll check on him. Cliff Donaldson.
Here.
Steve Hunt.
Here.
Thomas Keegan.
Here.
Andy Lapp.
Here.
Betty Little. Art Lucy.
Here.
Diane Monroe.
Here. And heads up, Ellie Tatum is having trouble logging in. I just got a text. So we'll see if she can come in.
Okay. Chris Pushkar.
Present.
Jeff Stefanko.
Here.
Eleanor Tatum. Mentioned is on hold. Bill Beanie.
I think he might be.
I think he's called us as well, so let's just give him a moment, perhaps.
There he is in the picture. Oh, we can see Bill.
Hey, Bill, it looks like you're still on mute.
I just flipped it over.
Ah, so I'm just going to give your name after the roll call. Bill Beanie.
Here.
Thank you.
Are we all set, Emily?
That's 10 present.
We have a quorum.
Great, thank you. Okay, an agenda is included in all your board packets. In accordance with Executive Order 202.1, this board meeting is being videotaped. A link to the video and transcription will be posted on the ORDA website following this meeting at www.orda.org. To have the best transmission, we are asking board members to please speak as clearly and as possible and identify yourselves each time you speak or make a motion so that we can get an accurate record of this meeting. Thank you. May I have a motion approving the minutes of our last meeting held on September 25, 2020?
So moved, Steve Hunt.
Second?
Bill Beanie,
Second.
second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? Okay, the motion carries. Thank you. Mike, would you please give your report to the board?
Certainly. Thank you, everybody. Our staff has been working very hard preparing for winter. The track at Mount Van Hoevenberg has been open for training and national team selections for luge, bobsled, and skeleton. We're trying to wrap up a lot of the construction projects. Our employee refreshers and training have been ongoing. We've been training for safety, COVID protocols, risk management, policy, and department-specific operations at every venue. This year, we had to sacrifice a little bit of our efficiency in order to accommodate some of the social distancing and size limitation requirements. And we've also had get to recognize a couple of staff people. Tony Kilburn from the Olympic Center recently retired. And at the end of December, Phil Bombeck from the IT department is going to retire. So Nice to have some longtime employees be recognized in this setting, and they've done a great job for us. With these construction photos and operations, we'll start at Bel Air. This is a big patio in front of the Discovery Lodge that's going in to finish off that project and help accommodate more outdoor seating year round. Bel Air started snowmaking. They thought they were gonna have to do one rescue, but fortunately everything was good. At Gore, the Sunway lift terminals are in, cable spliced. It's all being put together and coming together nicely. I don't have any real recent pictures of the High Peaks chair, but that one's right behind the Sunway lift, coming along well. And Gore's been making snow also. Whiteface, the Mid-Station Lodge, is turning out really nicely. It's just spectacular up there. We have the patio going in right now, and then the floor being prepped in the main level. And Whiteface Lift C is coming along great. The terminal's in place and getting ready to go through the certification process right after Thanksgiving for that one.
Is that over at Bear Dam?
It is. Yeah, that's a fixed quad with a conveyor loading. And a lot of little tweaks to it. The elevation of the loading's a little bit higher than the old ones, which seemed like it was in a hole. So much easier for the skiers to get on and get off. And Whiteface, you can see, has been making some snow also. And Mount Van Hovenberg, the site work's wrapped up nicely. That's the big drop-off area coming from lot 4 to lot 3. And then looking at the awards plaza for all 5 of the sports. That's the bridge for guests when we're having competitions to access the trails, so that when we have competitions, we can still welcome all the recreational skiing enthusiasts. I'm going to just show off a couple of the features from inside the lodge. It's a little older picture, but the one light looking like Olympic torches. And if you get right underneath in the lobby-way, that you have the Olympic rings, and some of the hardwood paneling is accenting the posts and beams. And we're showing off the 4 venues with snowmaking there. We really worked hard with technology, and we have the same control and monitoring system at all 4 facilities. So it's kind of standardized a lot of the operations, and been able to provide support back and forth to everybody and make sure that we're being as efficient as possible. Also wanted to talk a little bit about our ski area plans and opening up this winter. We've been trying to build a lot of confidence in the guests through our assurances, our communications, our operational guidelines, and allowing us to manage our capacities and controls. The season's pass numbers are continuing to grow, and this has been really exciting for us to be a part of, welcoming more of the committed core customers to our facilities. And it was recognized in August at our board meeting when we showed everybody the economic impact statement and report and the growth, which was a lot largely due to the increase in these core customers. So go ahead, Emily, one more. So since we've been open this summer, we've learned a lot about the COVID protocols. We've been adhering to all the New York guidances for retail and sales and food service, trying to plan our operations. These were the baselines with all our planning for this winter, along with different winter-specific guidances. All our capacity controls is really the heart of how we can be successful this winter. We're prioritizing the season's pass holders and all our limitations, making sure that we're not inconveniencing those guests. We're doing that by limiting our day tickets. Due to the contact tracing and health screening requirements, we're selling all our day tickets online through our e-commerce sites. This will allow us to use the technology to help us contact people if any contact tracing is required. This winter, it's all about outdoors and it's skiing. With our recreational facilities being outdoors, we promote social distancing outdoors, but some of the ways to get to that outdoors are being modified and adjusted, and the capacity controls is what's allowing us to do that successfully. So the outdoor experience is going to be tremendous. The process getting there is going to be a great one, but a little bit different than in the past. So with our e-commerce site, we get all the database specific information. All our products are day specific so that we know how many people are coming. We can be prepared and expect them. It gives us an internal control with the visitations and helps us manage. The health screenings will be done through an app. And our websites just have a ton of information that is constantly being loaded up. The technology, again, last year's investment in the RFID technology and the gates at the ski areas, as well as the new e-commerce sites, is really being relied on this year. And we're so happy that we invested in it last year. It worked out great. So as I said, the websites have a lot of information to help everybody be prepared for what the experience is, of what they should be expecting. It goes into everything from the food service issues to the ski school and lessons. But again, the core is about the outdoors, and we're really excited to open up our doors this winter, get everybody back to our facilities, doing what they love, skiing, and showing off our mountain resort communities.
Before you, can I interrupt?
Yeah, please.
So with opening procedures or planning, I'm sure your guidance has to be based on how many lifts are open.
That's a great point. Our smallest carrying capacity is going to be opening weekend when we have the least amount of terrain open. So we have taken that into consideration. We've studied all our historic visitation numbers, how many pass holders come on a typical weekend, each weekend. We factored in the growth in our pass holders. So from our carrying capacity, we start with that carrying capacity number, then we back out the pass holders numbers, and then anything that's left over is what we have for our programs and for day tickets, and we're trying to manage from there. We're also starting with a conservative number so that we have a good comfort level and we know we can be successful. And then as we get closer to different time frames, as we know that we have the ability to handle more people, we will load up our e-commerce sites with more tickets.
Great.
Mike, while there's a little break here, Emily, I just wanted to give you a heads up. Eleanor is still trying to sign in. If it's possible to send her the phone number, she's trying to get connected and having some difficulties. And if you give it to me, I'll text it to her.
It should be in anyone's invite to the meeting. If you're able to give me a hand with that, just because I can't step away right now.
Okay.
Can I call her? Emily, can I call her?
Yeah, I couldn't find it.
It's 415.
Hi, this is Eleanor.
Oh, there she is. Terrific.
I
Great.
finally was able to get in. I've been trying since before 1 o'clock.
Welcome, Eleanor. Thanks for sticking with it.
Yeah, sorry I'm late. But it's been, I don't know why I was having so much trouble getting on.
Can you tell us when the ski mountains are likely to open this year?
We're hoping for the day after Thanksgiving. The weather has not been ideal, and a few degrees difference in the forecast next week will make a big difference for us. But that's what we're shooting for, is the day after Thanksgiving.
That Mountain Pass looks amazing. Can I ask you, the Whiteface Midstation, what will be open to the public this year?
We'll have both floors open. We'll have bathrooms open, and we'll have grab-and-go food open.
Great. And what's phase 2 then for the next year?
Completing the kitchen build out so that we could have the full-blown food service restaurant facilities.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, it's Diane, and I didn't notice on the website, have the day pass prices been published?
I don't think, I don't know the answer to that. I know that our e-commerce site is being loaded up next week. Are the prices listed? So it's all being adjusted now.
Okay.
Okay, and so when will those be posted?
I think the prices will be up today, but it's rack rates, and then the e-commerce prices have different discounts based on how far out you purchase or whether it's a weekday or a weekend. Okay. And those will be loaded up next week.
Okay. Does anyone have any other comments on Mike's report?
Just real quickly, I'm not clear. So we're going to see different prices for day use depending upon where you get your pass, when you get your pass, right?
Yeah, typically like midweek Tuesday will be less expensive than a weekend peak holiday.
Right. And then you said where, like if you get it further in advance, you'll save money. Is that what I think I heard you say?
Yes.
Okay. And you said it's being uploaded on the e-commerce site. The question I have is it also going to be, or something going to be referenced on the website?
Yes, that's happening now.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
Any other comments?
I have one other comment on the Cliffside Coaster and how that's doing.
The Cliffside Coaster has been doing very well. We've been operating on weekends and long weekends. With the unusually warm weather, it's been a huge hit on some of these nice weekends. And then on the cold, windy weekend, it was a little less popular.
Right.
Mike, will that operate on weekdays at some point?
Yes, that's what we're expecting to do, but there is a lot of construction activity that we've just focused on the weekends to get it started.
Okay. It's a lot of fun, that's for sure. Anybody else have a question or a comment for Mike? Okay, thank you so much, Mike. There is no old business on the agenda. So for new business, I would like to have a motion to adopt resolution number 397, resolution committing capital and granting approval for the president and CEO to enter into agreements for the Olympic Center revitalization, 1932 rink, Jack Shea Arena, and the 1980 rink, Herb Brooks Arena construction and construction administration and phase 1 construction management. Could I get a motion?
So moved.
Second,
Bill Beanie.
Diane Monroe.
Thank you. Mike, can you please provide an explanation of what this contract is?
Sure. Both arenas have a lot of antiquated infrastructure. We're replacing all the air handling units, dehumidification systems. We're replacing seats, remodeling locker rooms, totally redoing all the shower areas, bathroom areas, adding unisex bathrooms for both the public and the athletes. Lot of modernization and rehabilitation type work. Some small concession areas, first aid areas, drug testing areas are all being upgraded. And in the 1932 rink, there's a lot of abatement in the lower level that has to occur with this project, as well as code compliance and ADA compliance issues in both facilities. With the construction and management services and architectural services, it's the construction phase where we've gone from conceptual to schematic to construction documents and bidding phases. We've gone through those with the construction management. There's shop drawing submittals, requests for information processes, the information bulletins. A lot of the independent testing is included in this, as well as the testing reports, regulatory compliance reports, and then contractor communications. So it's a big project. There's infrastructure from plumbing, mechanical, electrical, and buildings, envelope, windows type things also. And then a lot of the amenities from seating, bathrooms, and media areas and concession areas.
Can you talk about the phasing and what it means to, what areas will be open to the public, what will not be during the construction period?
Certainly we've been really identifying the calendar and trying to have as minimal impacts to the operation as possible, looking at where our big events were, where our regular scheduled operations need to be, and how we can juggle those things. This coming spring will be the biggest downtime for the ice time, and that would be in April and May, but we would have the ability to do one rink if we need to.
Okay. Is there any other discussion on this resolution?
I had a question for Mike about we have the architects and engineers, and then we have the construction management. And I'm interested in how they work together through this process. My history is that when one ends and the other starts, and yet we're continuing with both. And Mike, can you speak to that a little bit and where one ends and the other responsibility begins during this process?
Well, they're basically on our team to work together, and the architect has to ensure compliance with the design intent. And that's through the submittal process that the managers are developing and working through. So it's a communication thing, but it's an internal control where the architect also has to do the code review and certifications for compliance, and then just double checking the intent.
Thanks. I appreciate the clarification. It looked like a potential minefield to me.
It's a fast-paced schedule. We're being very aggressive, and we think we've set up a good team. We work closely with a lot of the other state departments in construction with OGS, trying to review what our techniques are and what our practices are to make sure that they're in line with what they're doing, and we're really in a good place.
Okay. Any other questions or discussions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Any abstained? The motion carries. Okay. May I next have a motion to adopt resolution number 398, resolution committing capital and granting approval for the president and CEO to enter into an agreement for the Olympic Center revitalization refrigeration plant project. May I have a motion?
So moved, Eleanor.
Right, second?
Second,
Thanks, Bill.
Bill.
Okay, Mike, could you please discuss this resolution for us?
Certainly, the refrigeration in the Olympic Center is 1978 vintage. It's very inefficient. It's not reliable. We have had some failures. It's exceeded its life expectancy. This project's to replace it with new equipment, more refrigeration capabilities, and a little bit of redundancy for our operation. Because of that, a little bit more refrigeration. We feel this is the appropriate upgrade for this.
Okay, does anyone have any questions for Mike about this project?
So I have a question. This is Art.
Go ahead, Art.
And is this different from the oval refrigeration, or is it the same?
There is one more resolution for temporary refrigeration for the oval.
Okay.
But that's different. But this project will provide the long-term refrigeration for the oval also.
That's what my question was. Okay. So it's our 3 rinks here plus the oval for the oval.
That's correct. This is the refrigeration plant for the entire ice facility here.
Thank you.
Mike, Bill Beanie, wondering what are the capabilities going to be for the oval ice? Are we going to be able to get longer term use out of it?
We believe so, yes.
Like what, any more facts on that? Any idea?
Can I give a percentage, Bob?
We've increased tonnage of the refrigeration plant by approximately an extra 174 tons of refrigeration to help due to the climate changes that we see, swings in temperature. So that'll help us get through the swings during the months of November and sometimes in December.
Could you hear that, Bill? About 174 more tons of refrigerant are able to be pumped through that facility. So with climate change or with beginning of the season or end of the season, that'll give us the extra refrigeration we need to make that a more reliable product.
That's great. I guess the point of my question is, would it have the capability if we wanted to do something when it's a bit warmer in September or October, if we really wanted to get creative and push forward with it? It might be a difficult question to answer, but I just thought of it.
I don't think so, Bill. I know historically a lot of sun has been too high in the sky for that facility at that time.
Okay, thanks.
Does anyone else have any questions? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Any abstained? Motion carries. Okay, may I have a motion to adopt resolution number 399, resolution committing capital and granting approval for the president and CEO to enter into an agreement for the Olympic Center revitalization, temporary refrigeration, and I believe this is the oval. So Mike, can you please discuss this resolution?
Yes. Did you get it?
We didn't move it.
I think you need to
So
move it.
moved.
Any further? Sorry.
Second, Eleanor.
Okay, then I got a second?
Thank you.
Thanks,
Yes,
Steve.
Eleanor. Tatum.
Eleanor first. Okay, you got, okay. Thank you. Mike, now if you could give us a discussion. Sorry about that.
Okay. With taking the refrigeration offline, and the oval being somewhat remote, we've really struggled and tried to look at how to ensure our operation best. And the easiest path to look at was going down the road of portable rented refrigeration, which we're going to have to use for this facility for a little bit of time also. But without having the infrastructure down there, we were first leaning towards having it diesel powered, which we didn't want to do. So we have worked hard. We've had many meetings with the different electric department, the electric department with Lake Placid, and we found a solution now where we can get a temporary electric service and have this be a remotely operated refrigeration much closer to the oval so that it minimizes all the piping costs, refrigeration costs, and then it reduces the operational costs and the environmental concerns that the diesel would have. So there's a nice clean system. We put a price in there for 2 years as a buffer. We did not think we needed it as a buffer, but I just wanted to show the board the total liability that is out there during this project.
So Mike, what you're saying is you gave us the highest price and it could come in better.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm counting on it.
We are too.
So this is Art. So the plan, well, I guess the question I have is how much is electricity? Was that factoring in a lot more than diesel or?
No, less.
So it came in less.
Yeah, looking at the diesel is basically having to have 2 pieces of rented equipment, a generator and the compressor. So where this is just renting the compressor and powering it with electric.
So how do they do the NHL outdoor ice competition, NHL Winter Classic?
I think they try to do them electric wherever they can.
Okay. And
It's just cleaner, it's
less
cheaper.
noisy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Does anyone have any further discussion? Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstained? Motion carries. Okay, next, may I have a motion to adopt resolution number 400? Resolution committing operating funds and granting Resolution committing operating funds and granting approval for the president and CEO to enter into an agreement for the 2020-2021 annual policy of health insurance. Can I have a motion?
Moved. Diane.
We're good.
Seconded. Thank you. This time I'd like to have Michelle Crew please discuss this resolution.
So this is the renewal for Orta's health insurance policy for its employees and retirees. It is the result of an RFP process where we got quotes from a variety of providers. The recommended provider is the same provider as we've had to date. It's at a flat rate. The other providers did not provide, did not have available enough participating providers in the North Country to allow employees to carry over their doctors and other coverage seamlessly. It's a better network. There's no administrative issues by continuing the same care because staff don't have to apply for insurance. And the third-party administrator that we use is also enables us to move forward efficiently without disrupting either organization or its employees. Does anyone have any questions about anything that wasn't provided to you in material?
I have a question. This is Art. How do you choose in this time in the last 5 years, the coverages have actually been escalating fairly high. So some companies used to cover maybe 90% of the health insurance. And how did we choose what percentage of the health insurance we would cover? Or is that handled by a collective bargaining agreement, or how does that work?
Well, our insurance covers people under both collective bargaining agreements and not covered in collective bargaining agreements. I think my understanding benefits differ a little bit between them. Determining the coverages that are available, I think we need to have our HR director involved in this to speak to that.
Art, were you asking about the percentage that employees pay?
Correct.
So you're right, with the collective bargaining agreement, it's a certain percentage that staff pay, a certain percentage the employer pays on behalf of the employee.
Yeah.
And then our management policy also dictates that with respect to our staff.
Got it. And so as prices increased in the past number of years, have we put more burden on the employees, or have we just maintained our percentages?
So I would say about 8 or 9 years ago, I think the exact date, as far as the management staff, we had management increased the amount that management paid towards the cost of the health insurance. And back in 2014, we really had a substantial renewal, and with our management side, we moved them over to a high deductible type of plan as opposed to a co-pay driven plan, which really reduced the cost for us. And then it also helped us with our renewal since then, because on the high deductible health plans, the first dollar cost from the insurance carrier's perspective when we go for a renewal comes out of the employee or the subscriber's pocket. And so we've been able to really control our renewals fairly successfully since we've done that. The union moved over to a high deductible health plan as well back in 2018. So we've been very successful, and I think we're very happy this year that we're able to rate at a flat rate against last year. And we're able to successfully negotiate that by leveraging some of the RFPs that came in pretty aggressively, but they didn't have the same type of network coverage that our current.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
I have a question, Diane. Is there a schedule for when these coverages are reviewed? And by the way, yes, it is. It's great that it's the same as last year. That's pretty impressive in this day and age. But is the review of these coverages on a schedule of some type through the collective bargaining process?
Michelle, you'd like me to address that?
Yes, please.
So there's nothing official in the collective bargaining process that requires us to review. I think what you're asking about, taking a look at the plan and the types of benefits that we provide. Our current collective bargaining agreement with our, what I call our traditional order staff, excluding the Bellers that are transferred over, requires us to stay with a particular plan carrier that we have, as does the OSU and the ASU agreements with the state. As far as reviewing our benefits, while not technically anything in the collective bargaining agreement requires it, process generally starts late July, early August, where we provide a census to our broker, and they look at over an 18-month period, really the experience that our users have used with respect to obtaining benefits through our health insurance process. And one of the things that really helped us this year was poor is the wrong word, but not a lot of usage when COVID-19 started, because a lot of those elective processes that you normally see weren't there. So we're able to leverage that to access a favorable renewal.
All right, so we had a good experience factor, which kept the cost down. My frame of reference is a contract is in place for a certain number of years, and then as we're coming towards the end of that contract, we begin conversations about the next contract. So what I think I hear you saying is that's school systems. In Order Life, there's not a period of a contract, and it's not something that's scheduled. Is that correct?
Well, I may have misunderstood you. The collective bargaining agreement expires this coming March, and there will be discussions on renewal for the terms of that. And certainly with you being familiar with school districts, I'm sure you're aware that the Taylor law requires us to maintain the current level of benefits until new collective bargaining. is negotiated.
Absolutely. I sure do.
Okay.
All right. So what you're saying is that this is a good year and there will be discussions beginning as per Art's question about the coverages and the employee contributions, and those will begin in March. Is that correct?
They'll begin sometime before March, that's the expectation.
Okay. Thanks a bunch.
Well,
Okay, is there any further discussion?
Yeah, can I just ask a quick question? Tommy Keegan here.
Yep.
I apologize if I missed it, but how many people are we talking about insuring for this $5 million?
including retirees, it's 351. The number does fluctuate because of whether new hires coming on or also we do have seasonal people that are entitled to health insurance. So when we do the estimate, it's based upon what we project for the year, but there's always a fluctuation during the year because of people coming on and people going off.
All right, that's close to in line. We're talking about almost $1,200 per person that works out to, which is, I don't know. I don't employ 350 people and I can get insurance cheaper than that. But I understand this is a much better plan than I'm able to offer as well. So, okay, I'm just curious. Thank you.
Accidents on the road.
Well, we didn't see it.
Yeah. I've been the subject of too many people looking at me.
Could someone turn on mute? Who's having a conversation? Thank you. Okay, any further discussion on this resolution? No. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
Any abstained? Okay, motion carries. Thank you. Unanimously. May I have a motion now to adopt Resolution 401? A resolution approving and adopting a property disposition policy and approving and adopting the State of New York Equal Employment Opportunity Rights and Responsibilities Handbook as the ORDA discrimination and sexual harassment policy. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Art. Steve Hunt, second.
Great, thank you both. Michelle, can you please discuss this resolution for us, please?
Absolutely. So ORDA currently has both a property disposition policy and a sexual harassment policy, but both of them needed to be updated and address certain deficiencies, for lack of a better word, in the current policies. The current property disposition policy doesn't identify a contracting officer and doesn't track the requirements in the public officers law for public authorities to have a property disposition policy. So the new policy, which we've been developing in accordance with the law for the past year or so, has a checklist at the end of it is Exhibit A that goes through the steps that employees will have to follow. That includes creating an inventory of all the property managed at each venue, and on an annual basis determining what property needs to be retained and what should be disposed of, and whether another venue can use the property. And then there are steps for the disposal that are laid out, including identifying the fair market value of the property and going through as a preferred method competitive bidding for disposal. There are alternative methods for disposal of property, including negotiation and public auction, specific criteria for going through those processes that are explained in the policy. All of it has to be by the contracting officer. Designated contracting officer under the policy is our vice president of operations, who is the logical person for that position. All venues report that person, and it's the best place to centralize that kind of function. Are there any questions that I can answer about the policy? Okay. The New York State Equal Employment Rights and Responsibilities Handbook is relied on by the Governor's Office of Employee Relations and other state agencies in evaluating compliance with sexual harassment and discrimination policies in New York. Again, Oregon's discrimination and sexual harassment policy has some aspects of it that need to be brought up to date and in compliance with the rights and responsibilities handbook. Speaking with ORDA, they recommended that ORDA simply adopt the rights and responsibilities handbook as its sexual discrimination and sexual harassment policy. So that's, any questions?
It's Diane, just a comment. Policy work is grueling, and Michelle, I thank you for your attention to detail and helping me track down the information I was looking for. It's not exciting, but it's important, and I appreciate your work.
Thank you. You're right. It's not exciting, but it is important.
Does anyone else have any questions or comments? Okay. All right. All in favor of this resolution?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstained? Okay, the motion carries unanimously. And that is our last resolution for this meeting. The next board meeting is presently scheduled for Friday, January 22nd at 1 p.m. Hoping to get up there and to Lake Placid for this one. Apologize that I wasn't able to this time. I had a little quarantine issue. Are there any other items that anyone wants to discuss?
Yes, Kelly, it's Art.
Hi, Art.
While we're talking about snowmaking, I think we were remiss in asking Mike about snowmaking at Van Hovenberg.
But there was a picture of it in the thing. We did make snow for 2 nights.
That's our first time we've ever made snow at Van Hovenberg.
Yeah, and it was great.
Cool.
That's great. It looks amazing there. So excited to be spending a lot of time there this winter.
I was deficient. We also made a little snow at the ski jumps too, so.
Great.
All good news. Okay, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn this meeting. Did I have a motion?
So moved.
So moved,
Diane.
Eleanor.
And Eleanor second, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
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 All right. Meeting is adjourned. I want to thank you, everyone. We won't be having a meeting over the holidays, but I hope everyone has great Thanksgiving and the December holiday season. And I'm sure we'll be talking in between. And then we'll all get together in January again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
you.
Thanks.
Enjoy the holidays,
Great
folks.
holiday.
Thank you.
Thank you.